Some news coming in from Israel. Israel has stopped the release of 620 Palestinian prisoners, saying Hamas staged humiliating hostage handovers in public. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Netanyahu's office said the prisoners will be freed only if Hamas follows the agreement and ensures the next hostage release happens properly. Hamas released 6 Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. Hamas is also expected to return the bodies of 4 hostages next week. The delay has raised tensions, with Hamas accusing Israel of breaking the ceasefire deal. Israel criticized Hamas for holding public hostage handovers where captives were shown in front of crowds. The UN also called these actions disrespectful and against international law. Meanwhile, Hamas has released a video of 2 other hostages, raising concerns about their condition. The ceasefire in place since January 19 is now uncertain. Talks are ongoing with Qatar and Egypt, trying to secure more hostages release and discuss possible Israeli withdrawal. We have with us my colleague Brian Thomas joining us on the telecast. Brian, we have seen this ongoing tussle over the hostage exchange between Israel and Hamas. Israel has continues to object over the condition and the way the handover is taking place, and now we've seen that they've also raised several issues over how it is being done, and there's huge rising tensions that has erupted amid all of that. What are the details that are coming in?
Well, yeah, definitely now the release of the 620 Palestinian prisoners that was initially scheduled has been delayed by several hours following the release of 6 Israeli hostages earlier the same day. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu's office stated that the prisoner release would be postponed until the next group of hostages is secured and until Israel receives assurance that hostages will not be humiliated during handovers in Gaza. Now, the delay has also cast uncertainty also over the ceasefire deal between both Israel and Hamas as the first phase of the agreement nears its March 1st deadline. Now, Israel has also condemned what it calls the ceremonies that demean the dignity of their hostages and the cynical use of hostages for propaganda purposes, and the criticism also very importantly follows the circulation of a video also showing to yet to be released hostages watching a handover and speaking under apparent duress as well. Now, the 5 of the 6 Israeli hostages also that was released were escorted by heavily armed Hamas militants and presented when Hamas issued certificates on a stage also before being handed over to the Red Cross in Nusrat, which is central Gaza. Now, this practice has also drawn widespread condemnation, also including from the UN, which has also labeled such stage handovers as crucial, while with the latest also releases, all living hostages also scheduled to be freed under the first phase of the ceasefire has now also been returned. However, Israel's decision now to release the 620 Palestinian prisoners threatened to derail the truce deal, also raising concerns over the future of the agreement as the negotiations are being continuing as of now. Yes.
All right, Brian. We also have this Colonel J.S. Soti, international affairs expert, joining us on the telecast. When I'm talking about something like this, the exchange of prisoners between Hamas and Israel. Now, we're seeing that Israel has halted and delayed the prisoner exchange, and this comes after Netanyahu's office's statement, and I'm going to talk about the statement. I'm going to read it out, and in light of Hamas's repeated violations, including the disgraceful ceremonies that dishonor the hostages and the cynical use of hostages for propaganda, it has been decided to delay the release of terrorists that was planned for yesterday until the release of the next hostages is ensured without the humiliating ceremonies. So Israel is raising various issues and objecting over how these hostage exchanges happening. But Colonel J. Sodi, when we're talking about this, we've also seen earlier there was a huge mix-up of the bodies as well, and Netanyahu also said that was a huge violation of the ceasefire deal. Earlier, the Bibash body was misidentified, and now after that, Hamas had launched an investigation and then sent the correct body later on. So there was a huge mix-up earlier on in the exchange as well, and now we're seeing that Israel has said that they are going to delay it for some time. So when we're talking about that, do you think there's a huge crack in the ceasefire deal?
Jai Hind, Riya. It's my honor to be on your esteemed channel. Well, the hostage release ceremonies are always supposed to be solemn and somber. And the way Hamas has made a spectacle out of the previous hostage release ceremonies clearly shows the wrong intent on the part of Hamas. Israel, on the other hand, has been showing extreme restraint despite the previous few hostage release ceremonies being held in a very brazen manner by Hamas. Yet Israel stuck to his word of releasing the Hamas personnel. But now I think it has reached a crescendo for the simple reason that in the last hostage release ceremony, one of the Israeli hostages who was released, he went on to kiss the forehead of a Hamas personnel. This sent shockwaves in entire Israel because the same Hamas personnel had killed over 1,200 people on 3rd October 23, apart from raping women and killing small children too. So I think Israel has taken a right step. The Prime Minister has done the right thing by saying that future ceremonies should be held in a very solemn and somber manner. Secondly, like you rightly said, there has been mix-up by Hamas. Hamas should take extra precautions because the ceasefire is very fragile in the Middle East. One small wrong step from either side can start the war again. And Israel, as it is waiting to start the war. Their Prime Minister was not happy in favor of this ceasefire, but under pressure from Donald Trump, he had no option. I think Hamas has more responsibility now of ensuring that no goof-ups are done and all the future hostage release ceremonies are solemn and somber.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us on the telecast and sharing your insights on that. Meanwhile, viewers will continue to share more updates regarding more news coming in. But that's a wrap for the bulletin. We'll step into a short break.